We're working? All right. All right, so you might not recognize a few faces that are already up here with us, but this is from our church. Of course, we had Lydia and Corinne who taught elementary, but then we also have some others who went to or worked with us in high school. So Maria's over here on the side, and Judah's behind me. We did have a few others, but they weren't able to make it today. So we always love to share/torture you, however you want to look at it. The first song will be in Spanish. It's very well known as praise. I think everyone sings praise around here. In Spanish, it's alaba. And we added this song this year along with some fun motions. If you see Lydia and Corinne do different motions, it's because they were in elementary and their motions are different. So forgive them if they go off on a little tangent. They're doing their motions. But we would like to share it with you. Like I said, mostly it's very similar to praise. They do change some words and some little things that are different. But yeah, the words are que todo la creación. So all of creation, alaba a Dios. So it's praise the Lord. So we're going to give this a shot. I started playing this last night, maybe at 10 o'clock when they were still at my house and we were having fun. So I love that we have a gracious church, and I've just put this guitar on. It's... and I think I'm going to tighten it. Sorry, Alex. But we have this song, and then we have some other songs that just kind of spoke to us even during our trip. We have 10,000 Reasons. Sunday morning, the other part of half the group left, and we were by ourselves waiting to hopefully get our flight that failed. And we had some more praise and worship time, and we sang 10,000 Reasons. And we were just finished singing the song. I asked the girls, or asked the people with me, what hit them in it. And it still hits me now, it'll hit me forevermore, is Elsa goes, it says, help me be singing when the evening comes. And it'll hit into the story later, but at night when we were looking for a rental car and it was 12 in the morning, I remember looking back at Elsa, I go, you still singing, girl? And she said, I'm still singing. So that was another one. And the last song is Goodness of the Lord. And Alex and Whitney introduced it to us a couple weeks ago, but it actually brought me to tears that day because I just came back from Honduras, and it was just that continual faithfulness of God that He displayed to us that we will talk about a lot. So Alaba has motions. Feel free to join in, kids. I know you like motions better. Just don't laugh at us, but but we'll sing it and join in. So we'll give it a hit. So if you guys want to come up. Go down the aisle. People can Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much, Lord, for your faithfulness, for your goodness, Lord. From first handing in applications, Lord, to standing here on the stage afterwards, Lord, we have seen as a Honduras team the faithfulness of God, Lord. And we just pray that as we share our testimonies, share our experiences, share our stories, Lord, that you will speak through us, share with our congregation how we were touched and how you've continued to work in each of our lives, Lord. Thank you so much for this congregation who is willing to send us, to pray for us, and to hear our stories, Lord. And we just thank you for this time and opportunity, Lord. And we just ask that everything you hear may bless your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so we are having order. I did put a little bit of a slideshow together this year, so as we're talking, if we mention a name or a class or whatever, you kind of can put some faces to it. It kind of keeps it a little bit interesting. So that will happen. So each of us just kind of have a little bit to share. We have our order picked up. Isaiah gets the tough job of starting first, but he is up for the challenge. So I don't know, PowerPoint, whenever it comes up. Are we going to be changing it then, Judah? Changing those slides? I can change them.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. As most of you know, my name is Isaiah Patterson. I'm going to be mostly just sharing about the time I had with Philip Sherbakov in my class. He was my teaching partner for the week when we were at the high school. Our translator's name was Joel. He was, I think he was also 17. He actually turned 17 on Friday at the end of our trip, which was cool. What? Okay. So yeah, I was teaching with Philip, and Joel was our translator. He is in the top right of the bottom left photo, and in the middle of the top left one. So yeah, Monday is always kind of the hardest day of the trip. It's the first day in the school. Now this is my second year, so I was obviously a little bit more comfortable, but it's always a little bit nerve-wracking. We got a new class this year. So last year I was with the 10th grade class, and then this year I was with a different 10th grade class, because the one from last year obviously moved up. So new class, so they haven't they haven't had an experience with our team yet, or at least not in high school. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking to kind of navigate ways you can talk to them and try to get engagement. We had 14 kids in our class for the first day at least, and unfortunately a couple of them were in a small motorcycle accident on Tuesday or Wednesday and weren't able to come back. So we ended up with 11 towards the end of our week. Yeah, so Monday went pretty well. We got through our lessons. Phil and I spent a lot of time every night going over them again and again to try and make them more personal with what we were learning from the kids each day. So yeah, then Tuesday came around. That was the day that we only had half of our time there. The power went out at the school, and so a lot of the kids didn't show up, and some of the classes were canceled. So we only had a few kids on Tuesday, but it wasn't too bad. We were actually able to get more engagement from those kids when there's less of them. I don't know if we have any pictures, but different from last year, we ended up kind of sitting in a circle. I think most of the classes did this. But instead of sitting up here like this and talking to the kids, we actually just put our desks in like a circle or sat on the floor, which made it a lot easier to share more personally and get more engagement from them, which was great. So then by Wednesday, we're starting to get more questions from the kids, more answers from them. We were able to have them read some of our scriptures for the lessons. And it was a lot better. They weren't using their phones anymore during the class or anything like that. So it's nice to see the relationship that we can build with them during the week. And Phil and I were really trying to, speed up the process of getting the engagement, which is really hard to do, especially with this 10th grade class because they were new. So like I said, we were working like every night on our lessons, trying to find more ways to connect with the kids. And so by the end of Wednesday, that was definitely happening more, and we were getting more questions, more answers from the kids. So it was a lot better. We started most of our class times with a prayer, and then we have like our cultural exchange that can range from games to questions to activities, etc. Let's see. Okay. So, like I said, Philip Shervikov was my teaching partner. That was really great. I enjoyed working with Phil a lot. Because we both have we obviously have different directions of coming at this. So it was very cool to navigate working with Phil and finding like middle points for our opinions and like different goals for what we would talk about that day, even after going over the lessons and such. So then by Thursday, I know I'm kind of speeding through this, but not really. So by Thursday, we got a lot more personal with the kids, and we were able to ask them questions about their faith, because the lessons we were going over were about Peter and his journey with Jesus and his call originally to be a fisher of men, and then his risk of obeying Jesus by walking on water, and then his denial of Jesus after the crucifixion. And then his forgiveness from that and his journey of faith after Jesus had left. So that was what our lessons were about, and the goal was to build the faith of the kids, to try to get them a little bit more sure about their salvation. So by Thursday, we were able to ask them. A lot of them, well, a few of them had said that they were saved, but when we asked, like, if Jesus is coming right now, do you think you're going to heaven? And most of them put their hands down for that, which was kind of, I don't know, it was a worry to see that they hadn't been sure about their salvation. So then we were able to talk to them more about how we're saved by faith and not by works, and that it's a one-time decision that we need that will allow us to enter the kingdom of heaven, and what we do after that is important, but not going to take away our salvation. So that was really nice to work through with them, because that was one of their biggest struggles, was like really holding on to their faith. Am I taking too long? Okay. So, so at the end of Thursday, we had our translator, Joel, was able to lead a salvation prayer with them, which was actually really nice. We stood around in a circle and held hands with the students. So it was a very personal experience. Instead of just being up here and having them repeat it, we were actually able to pray like close together in a circle. That was really nice. After that prayer, we were able to kind of reassure the kids that their faith was permanent, that it's not something they can lose, and that we're trying to influence them to be able to talk to each other and talk to their other classmates about their own faith and how they can grow together and make disciples of each other. So that's all I got. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so I taught the 12th grade class this year, which was kind of crazy because, last year I taught 10th grade, and I was going into 10th grade. And this year I taught 12th grade, and I'm going into 11th grade. So all of these kids were at least a year or 2 or 3 older than me. So that was like kind of an odd experience. Judah was my teaching partner, and he was amazing and did so great with the 12th graders. So the thing with the 12th graders is they're all like so much more used to this school in high school, and they share their thoughts a lot more. So last year with the 10th grade, we had trouble sometimes getting them to participate whenever we wanted them to answer our questions. This year, we did not have that issue at all. They would all participate a lot. So the first day, we got there on Monday. Monday's, like Isaiah said, always the hardest day. But for me, having gone last year, it was a lot easier, especially since those kids that I had in the class had already been there before and been familiar with us. So that made it a lot easier. But so we got in the class the first day, and we were trying to figure out what the heck to start with, because we started like pretty late, because I don't even remember why we started late, but we started late for some reason. So our schedule was a little messed up. So we were trying to figure out how to start, what to start with. And we eventually ended up starting with just our lesson instead of like a get to know you kind of game. But we had these so there was 3 boys in our class. One of them in particular was like a troublemaker, like class. Yeah, that's the right word. He would say stuff, and then all of them would start laughing. And our translator wouldn't tell us what they were saying either. She just she left out lots of parts. She'd be like, they said this, and we'd be like, they said a whole long, no. So then all the boys were kind of like that, but the one in particular was more like that than the others. So then after that, we had our morning, which went well, and then we had our afternoon, which went way better. And also, the one kid who was the class clown, he participated way more than every single other student. He was answering all of our questions. He was asking questions, and so that was just really cool to see. And that usually, last year, we had kind of stuff like that, but we didn't see change till further on in the week. So it was kind of cool to just see that the first day. So then the second day, the power went out, and it was completely dark. So first, we were told that the 12th grade class wasn't going to be there at all. So we were going to teach the 10th grade class that day. But then, like, 20 minutes later, the plan changed for, like, the 5th time. And we ended up some of our students came, 3 of them, all 3 of the boys. Only the boys from the 12th, so the 12th grade wasn't required to come anymore. And all of the boys from both 12th grade classes showed up. So we were kind of surprised about that. None of the girls did. So then that was probably my favorite day. We just had like this circle outside, and we just all sat and we were talking, and they shared stuff about themselves, and we shared stuff about ourselves, and we just had our lessons, and then we played Uno, and like I liked that day more than most of the other ones. So then Wednesday was our 3rd day. That went really well too. I'm trying to remember if there's anything like big that happened that day. I don't think there was. And then Thursday was like our last day. And Wednesday, I had a conversation with one of the girls in my class through Google Translate, which was nice, but it was a little bit slow. So that was really nice to just like talk to one of my classmates instead of having to have a translator, because translators are nice and all, but Anna also like continues to talk and then doesn't tell us what they're saying. So Google Translate was nice. So then Thursday was our last day, and so the last day is always the best. Like from my experience last year also, it's just like they're all like comfortable with you now, and they're all like sad to have you leave, so we all just like make the most of our last day. So the last day I think we actually this schedule got changed that day too. 3 out of the 4 days our schedule was changed. So the afternoon we did just like hanging out with them. There was like no lessons at all, so we had to cram that all in the morning, which was fine. So we did that, and then, as we were leaving, this one boy, which I don't know if I told any of you, I don't think I told you, but this one boy in our class, which he wasn't the class clown, he was another one of the ones that was, I don't know, just like loud and, I don't know, like made everyone laugh. So he was, on our way to the bus, he like had written out this thing on Google Translate, and it said, "This isn't goodbye forever, this is I'll see you soon. I had so much fun this week, and I'm so sad to see you leave," or something like that. So that made me so happy, because I just saw the most change in all 3 of those boys, and it made me so happy that, like, he said that. So that just made my, like, whole week. So that was, like, our class, and then we got stuck in Miami for like 4 days, and that was like a rough time for me, because it was a rough time for everyone. Everyone saw the highest and lowest points of all of ours. So we were all overtired, and Mrs. Spouse is going to talk about this more, but for me, I was like almost in tears like 6 times, because I just wanted to be home, or I wanted to be in Honduras with Esther and with my classmates, and I couldn't be either of those places. So that's mostly why I was so like upset. But yeah, so that's pretty much my experience there. It's really hard to tell you guys like about Honduras and make it seem so great whenever you haven't been there, because you can't understand until you've been there how great it is. But yeah, so.
So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Rebecca Faust. My mom's running the trip, and my sisters also came on the trip with the elementary school team. Maria and I, we taught one of the 11th grade classes, which was the same class that I had taught last year when they were 10th graders. So that was really cool to just continue up with them, see how they were doing. It was all the same people. I think we added about 1 new person that was just in the other 11th grade class last year. But it helped even out our guy-girl ratio slightly, so we had 3 instead of 2 guys in that class. Maria and I just both share about our classes, so I'm just going to tell a few stories, and she'll hit on what I missed and stuff like that. So our class was a lot of fun. There was competitive. We'd learn memory verses, and we'd always play games. And they enjoyed every aspect of it. There was so much fun to be around and to hang out with. On day 3, we had our lesson on Peter's 3 denials after Jesus had gone to trial with the servant girl and then the crowd and then I think man or something like that, if I remember correctly. We were like, well, because sometimes the high schoolers just kind of sit there and they kind of just stare at you, and you're like, well, can you like answer our questions, help us talk this through? I don't know if they were tired or hot or whatnot. But and so third day we're like, you know what, we're gonna make it interactive. So we taught the lesson, and then we assigned roles and had them act it out, which was a whole lot of fun because it got everyone involved. If you got picked for a role, everyone would be like, oh my gosh, it'd be really fun. And then we acted it out, and they had a lot of fun, which led to another really funny conversation between us and our class, where we realized that their animals don't say the same things that our animals say. So in that story, there's a rooster that crows, right? So we're like, okay, so at the end of the story, the rest of the class doesn't have a role, is going to go cock-a-doodle-doo. And our translator goes, cock-a-doodle-doo? And I'm like, yeah, that's what a rooster says. She's like, no, the rooster says kikeriki. So we're like, okay. So that was a whole thing. And then after we're done acting it out, we're all like, well, what does your pig say? What is your... So like their peeps say P-O. They say P-O-P-O instead of peep or whatnot. And there's different noises. Yeah, the sheep is something weird. It says bay. It's a B-E or something like that. But that was a really cool, because some of our cultural exchanges, we try to ask questions, figure out different things about our cultures, but it's not always the same. It's just something just literally coming up fluidly instead of just being like asking questions. So that was a lot of fun. They really enjoyed it. I feel like they really got engaged in that lesson the most, which was really nice, because sometimes they just like sit there and stare at us and we're like, yay. And then another funny little thing I'll tell about, and then I'll let Maria talk, but there was a cat that would wander around. And it was a little competition between the classes to see who's... Yeah, we have our cat in our picture up there. But it was a competition between some of the classes to be like, well, whose class pet is it? Like, who does the cat spend the most time with? So Maria and I claimed it ours because it spent like 2 whole days with us. So I just think that makes it ours. But the cat like joined in some of our games. The class of the cat's name was Susie. That's to be disputed by other grades, but that's what our grade named it. And it was really fun because the cat would come in, it would chill out, and it'd do funny things. So, or the 3 guys, they're in the top left there. On the bottom is Elmer. In the middle, I believe is that Henry? No, Greville's in the middle, and then Henry's on top. But all 3 of them would mess with the cat, and like while we were playing games, stuff like that. We have one game we were standing in a circle. And I believe the picture is in the video at the end, but they grabbed the cat and they had the cat join the circle. It's quite a comical picture, but it was just a great time because they do funny stuff. We talk about it and just a lot of bonding and stuff like that. So.
So many of you don't know me. My name is Maria Stoltzfus, and I teach middle school and high school at West Shore Christian Academy. And so I was just at a basketball game in like February, and Stacy said, "Hey, you want to go on this mission trip with us?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So here we are. So if you want to go back to the last slide. So Becca and I taught together, and it was so much fun. But it was also really cool because one of the things that I don't know if you think about, but I thought about going into this as like, all right, we're going to share the gospel with them, with these people that aren't reached and haven't heard it. And we got there, and most of the students had gone through our programs in the elementary schools or stuff like that. And so when we asked them, every single one of them said they had been saved, which was so cool, but it kind of changed our plan a little bit because the 4th day, one of the reasons it's so cool is because that's the day that we share the gospel. And so Becca and I, as a team, decided to, instead of presenting the gospel as if they had never heard it before, we decided to talk more about what it actually means and what it looks like in our everyday. And similar to what Isaiah had said with his class, a lot of them were kind of concerned about this aspect of, all right, we had accepted Jesus, but now what, right? So this group of awesome adventure comes one week every year, but trying to encourage what does that look like for the rest of the time. And so we had a really cool conversation about how When we mess up and when we fail, all we have to do is ask for forgiveness. We don't have to hold on to any of that guilt or anything like that. And so we had them split up into little small groups and kind of talk about what that means to them and where they're at in their walks. And then we went around and got a chance to pray with each of those small little groups. So instead of praying with an entire class, we were praying with groups of 2 or 3. And we had 8 kids said that they wanted to rededicate their lives to Christ, even though they had already accepted Jesus. So that was really, really awesome. And it was just kind of a shift in the way we had to look at it. We're not necessarily going to these people that have never heard it, but we're going to encourage fellow believers and to encourage fellow people in the faith. And so that was just a really cool thing that I definitely took away and that kind of gave me a new perspective on the trip.
So if you guys don't know me, I'm Corinne Faust. My mother's her. So I got the privilege of teaching with my lovely partner, Lydia. We got to teach 2nd grade, which was really cool to teach with like the younger kids. So this is our class in Los Prietos. We had 21 kids. The picture on the bottom left for you guys. Yeah, thank you. That's the first day us fuegoing. If you guys don't know what that is, you're missing out. So I love just how the kids just came to us and started immediately chanting fuego, fuego, fuego. They wanted to fuego as soon as we got there. And then, so the favorite game was inspired by, I would like to say mentor, Miss Tony. We played the game where we would hide like a little duck or a hamster as we did. And they would have to say the Bible verse to be if they said it louder, that means you were closer. And if they said it quieter, that means you were farther away. So it's kind of like hot and cold, but with the Bible verse. And they really enjoyed that game. So thank you, Miss Tony. And then the kids loved coloring. I did not get to go to the school last year. It was a week 1 school. So just getting to meet all the new kids and still getting to see the ones that I saw last year. They would continually ask for coloring and drawing, like when were we going to color next? When were we going to do crafts? They just loved their crafts, and the fact that we could tie in Jesus and the gospel into them was amazing. So just unexpected things on this trip, if you guys are ever considering going on, I would highly suggest. There's like unexpected things in your class. So in our class this year, we had one of the girls. So we only had 2 girls and the rest were boys. If you can look at that picture. One there and then one in the back by Lydia. Those were our 2 girls in our classes. And so the one girl, the one in front, came up to us, well, an interpreter. And they were like, the other girl, like, she's like disabled. She can't really move. She can't really like play games. And so we had to shift. Since they were 2nd graders, we had them getting up and moving, and we had to shift gears and change all of that. Like, we were going to have them play Simon Says, like, run around the room, something like that. And we had to completely switch our gears for our games and everything. So just to be able to expect the unexpected and be ready for situations like that. So playing outside with the kids was also really fun. We got to play Frisbee with them. There was this one kid that was actually really good at it. He started off like pretty iffy, but then he got really good at it. It was also fun because I got to teach the kids hopscotch, which they had never done before. And then they continued like beg me to make them want to teach it to some new kids and continually do it with them. They also really enjoyed jump roping, which there was just huge lines, and we sat there for probably like the whole time, just swinging our arms, trying to count in Spanish and count in English and like all that, trying to tell them. But there was also these like 3 girls that came over this one time, and they started helping us. They counted in English, so like they knew English. they were, let's say, like 3rd or 4th grade. Yeah, like 3rd or 4th graders came up and started counting with us in English whenever we got past the point where Spanish couldn't help us anymore. So that was really nice because they got to help us whenever interpreters were busy doing something else, which was really cool to see how they took the time to learn our language as we take the time to learn theirs. And then the high score. I made sure to keep track of this. So the high score, this one girl, we got like 100, and we thought that was good, and nobody's going to be able to beat that. Then like 3 people later, this one girl gets 167. I think she was jump roping for like 2 to 4 minutes. Like, it was crazy. And then we were like, so we started counting in English, and the 3 girls weren't there that day. Well, they were there, but like not helping us. And we were like trying to find an interpreter to tell her how many she'd gotten. Since we had been counting since we don't know anywhere past like 40 something. So we were like counting in English, and we had no clue like where was an interpreter. They were all like playing soccer or like in the break room taking a little break in the air conditioning. And finally, Rodrigo came up because he saw that we looked a little lost and needed help. And he came, he's like, so what do you guys need? And I'm like, so we kind of need to tell this one girl that she got 160 jumps in a row. And so he like told her, and the look in her eyes to see how many she had completed was just great to be able to see that. So our interpreters were Jeremy and Marina, or Isabel, which they were really awesome. So we originally only were going to have Jeremy as our interpreter, but then the first day of Los Prietos, Marina came in, and we were like, oh, okay. So we kind of already had everything planned with Jeremy, and Jeremy knew all the stuff. But Marina jumped right in. She was right there, ready to teach, knew nothing of our lessons, knew anything of how we were going to do anything, and just jumped right in, which was amazing. And then, I was the youngest person there, and so having an interpreter, Annette, was Ruth's granddaughter, our host there. And having another 12-year-old, well, turning 13, she's 13 now. Having her just there, people said that she was like a Hispanic me there. She was like jumping around everywhere. She was everywhere, and it was really fun to hang out with her. It's really fun to continually talk with her, and Annette was really special and awesome. So we had our little squad, Abigail. If you don't know Abigail, that's sad. Also a great person. So Lydia, me, Abigail, and Annette hung out all the time whenever we could, and it was just a really amazing experience. The kids also, if you're worried about like having enough energy on the low sleeve and waking up early and going to bed late because of meetings, that is not a problem, because the kids energize you. Like with the singing in the morning, like sometimes I was like not feeling it, and like, but nobody else wanted to go like on stage and lead it. So it was like me, Lydia, Annette, and I. That's what we did. We just stood up there and let the kids energize us and continually did it. Since Annette did it for 2 weeks, towards the end of the week, she got really tired. But we encouraged her, and she kept going and with the same amount of energy. We also got to introduce Alaba, which is a song we sang in the beginning. They really enjoyed it. They started like chanting with it in like the little dance break thingies. So yeah, it was just a really great experience. And then Lydia will talk to you about the other school that we got to.
Okay, for those of you who may not know me, my name's Lydia, and this morning I'm going to tell you a little bit about the other elementary school we went to, which was the Cuba School. So this was the first time that Awesome Adventure went to this school, and so I wasn't imagining a very warm welcome. I was thinking the kids just might be like in their classrooms waiting for us, but I was so wrong. When we got out, there was a huge aisle of kids, and we walked through all the way up to the stage, and then they performed on their little band, and they had like a whole like dance going. It was so cool. It was like the warmest welcome I could possibly have imagined. So when Corinne and I walked into our classroom, we were very surprised because there was about 40 second graders just walking into the room, and we were expecting like 29. So we were like, what's going on? But we figured it out because there was going to be a group A and a group B, but they just combined them. So we had a second group of teachers, Carly and Miss Julie, and they were really awesome. And so they just taught one lesson, and then we would teach the next one, and we alternated. Our classroom was really wild looking. There was like 50 desks and chairs, and then there was, it was a really small room. It was like probably like 15 by 20 feet, and you could like barely walk around. Oh yeah, it was rough, but we had so much fun. The kids were really good when we were teaching. They were mostly very attentive and participatory, but Corinne and I would sit in the back of the class and make sure they were paying attention, just in case. And it also helped that we had prizes like candy and bracelets to keep them listening. My personal favorite time of the day was recess. I loved connecting with the kids just by playing soccer and volleyball. It's amazing how much you can connect with kids just with a smile and a ball. There's only one more thing I want to touch on, the singing. I didn't think they were going to be very good at picking up on the songs because at Los Burritos, there was, all the kids knew all the songs. So like Corinne was saying, they're always like, fuego, fuego. And these kids had no idea what we were going to do. So after the first day, though, they were like so into it. Like some of the kids, they were like this tall. They knew all the words and all the motions right away. And we would sing with them. It was so neat to be praising God with kids from a different culture, a different country, and different backgrounds. And kids I barely knew. We were all praising our Savior together. So thank you.
Hello, my name's Judah. This was my first time going to Honduras. And one of the things that I wasn't really told was the interactions we'd have with the interpreter. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So when we first got to the hotel in El Progreso, we were just with the American team, and that's when we did the food distribution and stuff like that. But on Sunday, I come out to the lobby of the hotel, and you see all these people in the lobby. And I was kind of clueless on what was going on because I just didn't really know the schedule. And there was just a lot of faces and a lot of people, and I didn't really know that they were our interpreters. And so when I kind of heard that they were, I was like, man, we're getting close to going to teaching with these people. And so I'm looking around the room, and I see all these happy people, all these happy faces here to do the same thing that I'm here to do, which is to fulfill the Great Commission. And it's like, now it's real. Now we're about to do the thing that we're here for. And I'll talk a little bit about them. So we get on the bus, and I'm beaming. I'm so excited. I'm so ready to do this, and all of them are beaming too. And I sit down, and to my left is a boy named Fabio. To my right is a boy named Rodrigo, and diagonal to me is Sebastian, who's in the right corner up there. Me and him arm wrestled a lot. He was very interested in it, and he liked it. And he was like 23, I think. I don't know, 23. He was a wonderful guy. And so we're on the bus, and we're going to Morazan, and we're sharing our testimonies. We're talking about God. We're talking about the things that He's done in our life. We're talking about past years, and I'm so excited. I'm so ready to do this because I'm getting a chance to speak with these people from they're like 2,000 miles away that I would have never met, and all of a sudden I'm talking to my brothers in Christ who are on the same mission as me and who have the same struggles as me, and I'm building these connections with them, and it was a heck of a time. And so I get assigned my translator. Her name's Anna. I don't have a picture of her, but she was wonderful. She was also interesting, and she definitely didn't interpret, which was what she was supposed to do a lot of the time. So you'd hear this long string of a conversation going on, and then she'd turn around and she'd be like, "Oh, they said that it's a nice day outside." She's like, "Anna, no, she didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't say that." Or I would give her something to say to the students, and every now and then she would do something completely different. Because I would say 3 words, and she would give her own sermon, her own speech. I was like, okay, that's fine. But being in the hotel in Morazan was very impactful to me. In fact, it's one of the largest parts of the story that I get to take home from Honduras, because you're passing these students in the hallway who are from a bilingual school, and they're just students, they're just humans, and like you're so close to them. And although when we go to the schools and you're speaking the word through these people, that's a great moment too. But just being in a hotel with them was like that was a very impactful thing. That was a huge moment for me. I don't know what day it was exactly, but I began to have a gnat, a fly, that was always following me around, and that's Esther. She's on the right, and I can't even explain. I don't know what happened, but I think that she thought that I was her older brother, because that's how she treated me every single second of the day. There was like, it was someone kicking my ankles, someone punching me, just something, you know. And she was cute, she was funny, like she was sweet. She felt like she was younger than me, but I think she might actually be older than me. But yeah, that was really, really cool. So a little bit about talking through Anna. On Thursday was the moment that I realized that Anna was actually an amazing interpreter for what it was. We kind of got things down to the point where I could tell that she was actually communicating what I was saying, which was good. And the last day was the most important day for her to say what I was saying, because me and Arbel looked at me. She was reading off our lesson plan, and she gives me a glance that's like, what? And then I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, this doesn't transition. And she was completely right. We did not take enough time to like look at this one part. It just didn't really tie in. So I was like, put the script down. I'm just going to talk to them. And so I'm looking around the room, and I give it a glance to Anna, and I was like, if there's any time that you're going to say what I'm going to say, like say it right now, please, because I actually have something to say, please. And so she did. She got focused, and I could tell that she was finally communicating what I wanted her to communicate. And so I start talking to these kids, and like, I didn't ignore Anna, and I felt like I had a sister in Christ who wanted to communicate the same message that I wanted to communicate. And like, you know, our voices got low, and I started looking at the kids, and even though there was an interpreter, I wasn't focused on the interpreter. Like I felt like I was actually talking to them. I felt like I was communicating to them, and you know, I got to ask them some pretty important questions. I got to ask them like, why are they a Christian? Some of them weren't, but some of them were. Like, where are you going with this? What does it mean to have faith? What does it mean to be walking in faith? And by the end of that, Anna prayed. And this prayer was amazing, because there was a student that was like teary. Her eyes were tearing up, and I was like, good job, Anna. You did what I asked you to do. Like, there we go. And all those kids that day accepted Christ into their hearts. And I even asked them, and I was like, did you really feel like you had a faith before this? And you know, they were like, no. I got to talk to a lot of them separately. And but by the end of that, they were saying that they did. And so whatever Anna said, I still don't know what she said. I don't know what 90% of the things she said was. Whatever she said was amazing, and it impacted them. And so I want to say that now back in America, I'm still talking to like 4 of those interpreters. You know, all those guys that I met, I'm still talking to all of them. And they're important people to me, and I can communicate my struggles and my walk in faith with those people. And so if you want to go on a mission trip like this, remember that you're going to be interacting with people that you would never get a chance to interact with if you don't go on this trip. And I mean, that's going to be everywhere if you follow that line of logic. But it's a heck of an opportunity, and I would suggest it.
All right, so I'm going to try and keep this on the shorter side, but I want to jump back to Saturday. This was the first full day in Honduras we had. We got to do a new activity this year that we didn't have last year for some of the people that have gone, and it was food distribution. So after we were with the Awana program in the morning working with little kids, we got to split into groups and take bags of food and basic hygiene products and actually go to people's houses and get to bless them physically and spiritually. So we had an interpreter with us, and then a couple of us. We really didn't know what we were doing, but it was such an amazing opportunity. We got to go into people's houses. We got to pray with them. We got to learn about their needs and like what their life is like. And it was extremely eye-opening. I remember the one man's house we went to, he was a very older gentleman, and they were surprised to see him out of bed. And he has been very hesitant to accept Christ into his life. And when we asked him about it, he was just not interested. And they have come a couple times to his house, and he's just not been receptive. And so we were able to give him food, and we asked if we could pray for anything. And he said that he was in a car accident where he was hit by a car. And so one of his hands didn't really work, and he had a pain in his side that got so bad that he would have to lay in bed for weeks at a time. And so we asked, like, when did this happen? And it had been 7 years. And so we prayed for him, and he wasn't very comfortable with it, and he told us he was just waiting for the new moon, and that every time the new moon would rise, he would be healed. And it had been 7 years of that. So, it reminds me of, the story of the pool of Bethesda, and how Jesus healed that man who had been waiting for 7 years. So it was a really, really neat opportunity to go into the houses and to pray with different people and just get to know them. I remember even last year when we were driving on our bus, we would see these houses that are made out of cardboard and tarps. And it was like, this is real. But when we actually got to meet the people that lived in those, it was a whole new experience. So that was just very, very cool. One other thing I wanted to say is I was very nervous about the team going on this trip. I'm going to be completely honest. I know like half of them because this isn't everybody. And I was like, the dynamics are different. I knew everybody last year. I was just a little nervous. But these people are like some of the most incredible people I know. And I don't say that lightly. They had the best attitudes throughout the whole trip. They had so much grace, from sprinting through the Philadelphia airport at full speed to make our flight, to wearing the same outfit for 3 days because we didn't have our luggage. They had so much grace, and they really led by example through the whole week. And there would have been a lot more miserable times if we didn't have the attitudes we had up here. And I'm not even kidding, after the first day, after Friday, I saw that God had handpicked each and every person on this team, and we all were able to work together so well. So going back to the schools, last year was hard. It was just hard. It was spiritually, mentally, physically exhausting. High schoolers are tricky. It was a new school. We were all new to this trip. It was just hard. So I was nervous going back. I was a little stressed about going back on Monday. Monday's always hard. And I had nothing to worry about. It was like coming home. It was a new school. It was, the kids were so excited to see us. And I was blessed to have the same class that I had last year. And not all the adults, but some of the kids. Do you remember Miss Sophia, who was here for VBS? She was here Monday night, just one night, and then she had to leave. She actually lives in Honduras. I think she told you that. And through a series of events, through God, she was able to come teach with us, and she was my teaching partner. And she was the biggest blessing to me this trip. She was truly incredible. The way she interacted with the kids, and she just radiated with the love of Jesus. And you could see that in all of her interactions. So I wanted to share a verse that really, I think, sums up this trip a little bit and some of the things that we went through, and it's Joshua 1:9, and it says, "Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous, do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And I think that really, really summed up the trip well. These people are just amazing, and God was with us in Miami, in Honduras, and even now back in the States. And you can see that the God we have is the same God that's down there. And he's the same God everywhere. And he was amazing. And he showed up this trip, and he did some crazy things.
All right, so I'm going to preface this talk with, if you ever think as an adult to join this trip, this was a weird year. So this is my 4th Awesome Adventure trip, and I have never gone through the leadership challenges I had, so don't scare you. Please come next year and join me and help me out. But so we're on the bus, we're going, taking leadership of everything, and 20 minutes down the road on the turnpike, boom, literally. We joked with Corinne because it was underneath her. We asked what she ate that morning, but she was okay. And there we were, stranded on the side of the turnpike. God placed us at a spot where there was like an exit ramp, an on-ramp, like an emergency ramp, so we had plenty of space. And there was a few other adults from the other church. We called West Shore Free. We called, the gentleman in the truck is Steve Lockwood. He's the maintenance guy, helps do a lot of things at West Shore. And amazing, about maybe 45 minutes later, we had a truck that we shoved all the luggage on. We had the mini bus that we put us on and luggage, and we had someone who just brought their car because that would be enough numbers to get us all in, and we got to take off. But what do you do on the side of the road when you have time? You fuego. So everyone talks about fuegoing, and once again, just that example of attitudes and the posturing of everyone. Because here you are, 20 minutes down the road, we have an airplane to catch. We did show up at the airport an hour before we were supposed to take off. The printers for our luggage tags stopped working. I don't even know what happened, but we literally, as Elsa said, ran through the airport. Maria lived her lifelong dream of being on Amazing Race, where you have to run through the airport to get there in time. She lived it and loved it, and she was like, yes! The rest of us, I was standing around waiting for luggage tags, which never appeared, and literally got to the airport, and I had to... I had to use some forceful talking because my team was on the plane and I was not, and they told me they gave my tickets away, and I was like, no. But I learned new wordage. Everyone, there's unaccompanied minors on that plane, and I am their leader. I have to get on. So that's what I've learned. That's what I'm taking in my backpack for any other time that this hopefully never happens again. I did luck out. I took off in coach, a little comfy seat. Or no, first class, thank you. First class, I don't even know what it's called because I've never sat there before. But I did get told there was a disgruntled passenger who was told he could move to that seat, so I really didn't care. I was on the plane. That did end up, as they said, with 8 people not having luggage. I didn't even have luggage tags to prove that we had luggage, really. So it was very interesting. Judah, he's like, I hope you guys like my outfit because here you're seeing me in this for the next 3 days. But no, just continually, just the flexibility. Christmas appeared on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Saturday night. Sunday morning, it was like Christmas, our luggage appeared, and it was beautiful. Saturday night? It was Saturday night. It was Saturday night. That's right. We had just got done playing soccer in the mud, so the luggage came right on time. So yeah, people borrowing clothing and sharing clothing and everything else. So you've heard about everything in between with the Honduras trip, but then, traveling wasn't exciting to get there enough. Then we have to challenge the leaders on the way home. So we land in, leave out of Honduras, great. We actually got to sleep in, which is unusual for a way home Honduras trip. Usually you leave at 3:30 in the morning. I know you people remember that very clearly. Very casually leave at a good time and arrive to a canceled flight. A little chaos. Luggage places, chaos, everything. Isaiah was following a line, chucked his luggage on for Philadelphia, and we were like, no. Oh. So that was a little interesting, but that was all right. And then found out that we really can't get out of Miami that night. So went to a hotel. Kelsey is the leader from the other church, and I was with her. We're trying to figure out what to do. The whole flight thing, I'm not even going to go into that because that was, people needed to be home the next, that's a long story, I can't tell you. But we end up in the hotel. Kelsey and I are at the counter. Pastor Terry left us his credit card because unfortunately he wasn't there. We swiped it once, it worked. We swiped it twice, it did not work. So we're like, all right, next tail. And it was a little stressful at the counter. And I can't tell you how amazing. The group was standing behind me, and what did I hear? Complaining? No. Tired? No. Grumbling? No. I heard in unison, "It is well with my soul," being sung through the whole lobby of the hotel. And not only that, but the lady who came in, we had the whole shuttle, and then one little lady was there with us. And she looked at me, she goes, I think I need to join along, and she did. And then someone told me the other day there was a guy who spoke Spanish, and he started singing it in Spanish right along with them. And I tell you, at that point, we'd figured it out. I was like writing my autograph. I was like, yeah, I'm a leader of these kids, and they're amazing. Yeah. So that was awesome. So anyhow, nothing like ordering Domino's pizza to fill the stomachs at 12 o'clock at night and heading to bed. From decisions making, everything else, we did separate. One group did go up to Fort Lauderdale. We could only order 9 tickets on our phones for planes, so we stuck in groups of 9. So it was the 8 from Life in Christ, and then Evan, who was our foster kid for the day. He's from West Shore Free. We did, Isaiah roomed with him a bunch last year, so he knew us. We were familiar with him, so he joined us in. And as you know, I think the difficult part was Sunday evening. We did hit the point where we found out we were the only ones that didn't get out of Miami. We were told a couple times, your flight's changed to 10. Oh, now it's back on time. Oh, now it's 1 o'clock. And then it was 3:30 we were supposed to leave. And then it was, oh, just kidding, it's back on time. Like literally we were like, let's eat, let's not eat, let's eat. Like it was emotional. And then it was finally canceled again. So it was the 9 of us, well, 8 of us and me left. And I just can't even tell you, well, I'm going to tell you, but the events that just led from it were just trial after trial after trial. Let's see what the airport can do. The airline said, well, we can fly you out of Atlanta. We checked our phones, 10-hour drive. Yeah, that's not going to really, I'd just rather drive home if I drive that far, just different things. Okay, refund our tickets. Elsa was on the phone with my phone trying to find hotels. Everywhere we called, we need a hotel that has airport shuttle. We have no way of getting out of here. Literally, they'd be like, I think I found you one. Ready to type in the name. Oh, it just went away. And you're like, great. So on my phone, I booked a hotel, and we had no way of getting there at that point. So I'm like, well, here's 2 rooms. So we took it. We lugged all of ourselves across this area to, we're like, well, let's get a rental car. Isaiah and Philip were great. They were checking out one area I'm in. Most of them are going, everything's one way is filled, And I'm like, well, what if I bring the car back to Miami? And they're like, well, we'll see. There's a few. Wait in line, get up. Thankfully, I still had a little sense of humor. The guy's like, let me see what I've got. He's typing in, I've got a convertible for you. And I was like, I don't think that'll help me. Thankfully, found a Range Rover. Just little things. We were leaving the garage, the parking garage. Philip was my co-pilot. I had half the luggage. We had 10 pieces of luggage, 10 suitcases. There was 9 of us, suitcases on top of us in the back. Philip was my co-pilot. He was going to lead us to the hotel. And what do you know? I'd have never happened before. His cell phone wouldn't pick up GPS service to help us get to the hotel. So we're just driving for a little while, and then we pull over. Thankfully, the car had it. My phone wouldn't plug into, my cord stopped working. We couldn't plug it in. We got to the hotel finally. At this point, Lydia unfortunately spent Friday sick. She was fevering again and getting sick. It was 1 o'clock? I don't even know. I gave him my card. I gave him all the identification for a hotel room. The guy hands me the keys to my hotel room. I look at him. I'm like, that's awesome. I ordered 2 rooms. He's like, oh. I showed him the proof. A couple more. I feel like I'm doing this the whole time. All we did was computer stuff. And he's like, well, I see that, but I literally have no room for you. There's only 1 room. And so I took Philip and who was with me? Arabelle and the 2 younger ones. And we went up to the room, and we got into the room. And Philip, I love him. Like, my phone wouldn't charge. I needed phone so I could go back and get the other one. He pulls out a toothbrush. He starts, going to the little, a connector area with his little toothbrush. He was in the lobby talking to random people, got me a cord that would work so that I could have communications while I was going. And just like I said, so I called Elsa, and I said, well, I'm coming back to get you at the airport. Where are you at? Or at D8. Okay, I'll be right there. And just to prepare you, we only have 1 hotel room. What did I hear on the other side of the phone? Miss Stacy, but we have 1 hotel room. And you're just continually, just the Lord, just these attitudes, just the way we went. Judah, if you want to switch to the next slide. So we came back with everyone. Down here is Elsa, Rebecca, and Philip sleeping on the floor. These kids literally were fighting over who was going to get, no, you take the bed. No, you take the bed. I loved it because it said, Miss Stacy, you get a bed. I was like, yes. I did not turn that one down. Even in the luggage, Isaiah, no, Miss Stacy, you're not pulling luggage. You're taking charge. You can't pull your own luggage. I'm like, I feel really dumb walking empty-handed, but, went through the things. They were there. Isaiah was still sleeping on this part of the floor. Evan was kind of between beds. We show back up. The room is hot. I'm like, hey, guys, turn the air up. It's hot in here. Oh, yeah, the air was, down as far as it went. The air conditioning didn't work in the room. And I was like, if I go downstairs and tell them, they're going to come up and see 9 people. And, well, here we go. And we literally rolled over, no dinner. It was 2 o'clock at night, and we just turned off. As a leader, I'm laying in bed, and I'm going, I have no idea. We have no plane tickets home. We have 1 hotel room. What the heck are we going to do? So what do you do when you wake back up at 4 o'clock in the morning? You call your mother. And I called my mother because I was trying to let my husband sleep. I'd already talked to him. Yeah, and she's up. She's an early riser, so she's awake. Just decided that, you know what? Getting a car and driving, I could have put myself in a worse situation with flooding. There was 100,000 people without electricity. And I fessed up to, we were having a mini Miami vacation and just went with it. So I got us a different hotel. It did have shuttles to the airport. It had refrigerators and microwaves. We had 2 rooms, woohoo! It had a pool. It had laundry service. Isaiah didn't have luggage. All of our luggage stunk really bad from all the sweating we did in Honduras. Elsa and I, we learned to get lots of quarters, and we bring our own powdered laundry detergent because to wash our shirts. So I had that, and we just made do. The Olympics were on, whatever. We went to the grocery store. Elsa was so excited for seltzer water and Greek yogurt and cottage cheese, the little small things that are life. I bought snacks, lunch meat, and still continually, I will admit to you 100%, I took a nap. And I woke up and anxiety just filled my little heart. I was just like, I have not 8 people I'm in charge of, and I don't have a car, I don't have a vehicle. What am I going to do? And I looked at the girls, and I said, can you guys just pray for me? And they did. They just circled me in prayer. Rebecca came with me, what can I do? And I was like, I don't know how to get food. I just don't know what to do right now. And she took my phone, found out there was a Subway in walking distance. I pulled up my app. She literally walked each person. They put their order in, and she ordered it, and they went and walked and picked it up, and we came back. And so, these kids just continually, the whole trip, just surrounded each other with grace, surrounded each other with love, surrounded each other with prayer, and just went through. So these amazing people. I mean, even some of you that got home on time are still amazing people, too. We won't hold that against you. But just continual, just the Lord, just putting things, not the Lord, sorry, the devil just trying to put ways of tearing this group apart, and the Lord just held us together. Prayers from home. We did FaceTime Judah. We FaceTimed Esther in Honduras, had things to pass our time. Pool. There are pictures, places, but I decided not to embarrass everyone with do your best ballerina jump into the pool, and there's pictures of still frames. And the Spider-Man was some of my favorite ones. And Evan's in the top corner. He's our adopted one. But Becca did cornrows in his hair because what else do you have time to do? And then the other entertainment was if you take them out, then it's like Einstein going on, and it was fun. So there we are eating in the hotel. I think that's lunch. We did have lunch stuff every day. The bottom left-hand corner, that's quite a picture I've got down there. But when you're passing time, you're passing time. So we were able to leave out Wednesday morning. Evan had trouble finding his passport in the middle of the hotel or in the airport. Put me a little trouble gasping of air yet again, but he found it, and we had a very smooth flight home. Other than poor Elsa wasn't feeling quite so well, but we even got her through in ginger shoes when we stopped and everything else. So the last thing, just to tie this all together, of course, is just like I said, the amazing ability to gel together and be under God. But I did have to share this. My father doesn't know I'm sharing this, but I got this card in the mail. Sorry. I don't even know, 2 or 3 days before we left. It had $30 in it. We each got $10. We have beautiful T-shirts from it. But I find it really, I shouldn't even say ironic, and no coincidences in God's world, but this is the letter my father wrote to us. Stacy, Rebecca, and Corinne, A long-awaited excitement and preparation for this year's missions trip is fast approaching and will become a reality. We pray for your safe travels, good weather, good health, and for God's will to be done. Sorry, I'm going to read the words. But he said, sorry to be a pooper, but my heart and head asks the question, have we prepared for the unexpected? My guess is no. We can't prepare for something that we don't know about. This is when our faith and trust in God goes with us for those moments of uncertainty, not just walking beside us, but carrying us, showing us his great love. Have a great trip, trusting in the God whom you seek and serve. So there you go. My father spoke exactly what I needed and took with me through it all. So to finish out, we do want to share a little bit more of our trip with you through our video. The beginning, so people talked a little bit about it a little bit, but they blessed us with this whole band coming in, percussion. So thanks to Google, I figured out how to put that as my background music. So when you hear the percussion and everything, that's actually the church or the school playing for us. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, now that there's everyone. That was our high school team. So in the end, there's all of us at the thing. So. But once again, we cannot tell you enough. Thank you for every ounce of this trip, whether it was coming alongside of us through prayer, through financial, through yard sailing with us, through roller skating with us, through eating weird foods that you didn't know was coming on your plate on mystery dinner night. We may be the ones in the blue shirts, but really this trip is not possible without every one of you sitting here, and we are just so grateful. So enjoy the video. And then, like I said, we don't really have time for questions, but feel free to talk to us at the picnic. I'm sure they'll keep talking their ear off. You may have to tell them to stop or something. Yes.
Really quick, I have one more thing to say. Just for Miss Stacy as a thank you. She was the most incredible leader. We have for her 2 pictures. One that is signed by the kiddos in your group. We are your adopted kids. Now, yeah? It's official.
When you start talking about bowel movements and everything else, you are family.
So this is just, I think this really sums up the trip really well. The fun memories, the crazy memories, just everything in between. And then we have one more, it's a little different, that we're hoping to hang somewhere in the church, just as a memory of the 2024 Honduras trip. So thank you.
Thank you, guys.